it, on an individual level also, that how many auths have been used. So that gives you an overall view of how many auths or what is the data that your particular project has used. And next, coming down to the projects page, you will see, you will see all your projects that you have made using this particular the dashboard. And this is a unique ID that identifies your project. And I hope you remember the host name part of it, where I mentioned that if you are trying to run your project locally, you have to make sure that the host name is localhost. And if your product is in live, make sure that it only has the the domain name with no backslash or https. And this is the most important thing that you should consider. That is the API key that you get, that helps you actually get you through the setting up of the web SDK. Now I'll just show you how you can make a project. So there's a button called create new project. Once you tap that, you have the different choices of, make sure to explore all of these, as we are providing you with 10,000, or it is actually a huge number, and that gets replenished every month. So make sure that you explore as much as you can. So these are basically what this. So I will be making a web app which I'll be using this. So once you go through this, you will also see the sample code of how you can do it. So once I select which particular project do I want. So for now, I want a web based with the code. So Bubble and WordPress are the no code platforms, but I want to use a coded platform. So I'm going to select that, and I get all these basic instructions of how to do it. So once I want to get my project started, I press on the continue button, which asks me for what should be the project name. So I'm gonna give it as HackNITR uh, uh, project. Yeah. So once that is done, it would ask for your host name. So I would be doing this in a local host, so I'm gonna put as local host. So we also have a new feature that we added very recently, that is a beta access. Suppose if you're you don't want everyone to log into your platform, you can actually add a Google sheet which only contains the people, the email ID or the phone number that you want them to bypass through. And once you give that sheets link, it only authenticates the people, or it only authorizes the people to get you through it, and all the others won't be accepted. So once you make a project by creating this, uh, you would get a download pop-up of to store your private key. So once that is done, you can do that. So you scroll down, you will see all these data, the ID of the project, the host name, the API key. So that gives you, and the important things of what the project is. And now the most fun part of it, I mean, how your project should look like. So I'm going to select this. Okay. So now here I can choose either I want phone number or email ID, and this is basically the preview of how your, the web SDK is going to look. So you can, choose this or this to get a view of how, this looks like. And we have also added Google reCAPTCHA to make sure that no unwanted bots or other things get into your login. So you can do that, and Google reCAPTCHA would be enabled. And I hope you remember I mentioned about the custom form fields that you want to add a name. Suppose I want to add name in my product, and I'm going to choose the text. Once I save it, you can see that the we now have a name field also. So this is exactly how in the web SDK, it is going to load. And now if you want, I can delete it also. So that refreshes, every time you do it. And once that is done, these are, the configurations of how your what should be, like suppose by default the cooldown period is 15 days. You can, it you have to make sure, okay, the value is integer. So the 1 day would mean, you after a day or 24 hours, he or they would be asked to get an OTP again to confirm that is you itself. So these are basically, how the email should go like, or how the OTP that goes to your phone should look like. So you also have a field where you can put your, company logo in so when you put a link of an image, this, welcome to Savala would change to whatever logo that you have put as of now. And as I already mentioned, that you can, access the beta. You can enable the beta access by only selecting, or by only making sure either only a few people, get access to your product. So that is an overview of how the forms and fields work. And now, so the design part of it, as in how your project should look like. So as of now, we have, four themes that you can use. We have light black, which is one of my favorites, but this dark theme looks dope. So these are some of the few customizations that you can make, and you can customize each and every component of this particular iframe that loads. You can put this in red, so that would become red, which does not actually look good. So I'm going to revert it back to white. And you can change your border color. I'm this is very self-explanatory of, how it is working. So yeah, so these are all, the design part of it, as in how your web SDK should look like. And you can put your company logo URL here also. And suppose if you have your own different set of, privacy policy, you can enable that, and you can select what color it should, have. And that is pretty much about the design part of it. So this is a referral one. So, you would not have to enter your code here. The organizers would be sharing you a link where you would be redirected to whatever email ID you have, and you will get 10,000 odds. Organizers, I am requesting you to please share, the link in the chats and on, the Discord channel. So this is again the the documentation that would redirect you to the documentation page that we just, saw earlier. And this is again the feedback. Please, once you start integrating your product, please let us know by filling this feedback form. How was your experience? Good, bad, whatever that is. We are trying to improve our product as much as we can. So this is how the whole dashboard looks like. So you log in, you make a project, you put the host name as local host if you are, doing it on a local machine. And yeah, that is pretty much about, how you can get started with, making a project. So I'm going to take you through a project that I've made for myself. So I'm gonna share that particular code base, and then I take you directly to how easy it is in production. So just a moment, guys, so that I can share the code base. Oh, yep. Okay. I hope that you guys can, see my screen. I'm taking a moment to, make sure it is visible to you. Yep. So a fun tip is that if you are in, Visual Studio Code, and I find it very difficult to traverse through, the GitHub UI. So if you press the dot button on your keyboard, it actually opens a VS Code web editor. So that is something that you can look at it. So this is a basic IP tracker project that I made, which just tracks your particular IP address in the first go, and then whatever value you put, that will be pointed to that particular IP address. So I have integrated Savo with it. So once you do the npm install of Savo, you can have this particular line of code which import the Savo instance, and then with this particular code base you would set the configuration file of it. I have chosen the email as my identifier type, and the container name is Savo container, which you can see it here. So this is particularly the div where my iframe loads, and I have not exposed my key. I have stored it in the env file uh, in my local machine. Once you host it in Heroku, Netlify, Vercel, wherever you want to, you will have a place in the deployment section where you can add a particular config variable or an environment variable where you have to just make sure that the key value pair is whatever value you put and the API key there. So here what I've done with the payload is that I have stored the payload in my local storage, and I'm storing the section here. So that helps me with the cookie management and all that stuff. So in one of my other projects, I stored the payload into my backend via an API called using Node.js. So once you put this, you are good to go with the login. So this is how easy it is to actually integrate Savo. So this is the code of it, and I'll be sharing you the live project that I made. So let me take a moment to share the screen. Yes. I hope my screen is visible. So this is as simple as it is. I have an email ID. I put that as if already logged in. It might automatically log me in. Yes, it automatically did. Okay, I think my IP address tracker might not work. Yeah. Oh, did work. Cool. Cool. So this is basically, the current IP address location that I'm in. Suppose if I want to put Google. Okay. Correct. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, it worked. Cool. So it takes you, to whatever IP location that you're giving in. So this is a very basic project to, to get you started with how you can integrate it. And what I've done is once you press the logout button, it clears the cookie and the cache and the data in the local storage, and you will be logged out. So it says a pop-up which goes like, you will be logged out, and once you put it, you're back to your home page. So this is, as easy as it looks like. Make sure, you try to integrate a product. It is very easy, and as you have 10,000 alt, it is the best, chance to explore more of every stack that we provide. And yes, that is it from my end. So yes. Yeah. uh Isha.
Yes, sorry, Riva. Yeah, that was really a great presentation and slide. Now here we have some questions from the audience. Let's answer them. Someone is asking, is it compatible with Flutter?
Yeah. So once you go through a documentation, you can see that how you can integrate Savo with Flutter. So we have pub.dev where you have the package. So please go through the docs.savelabs.com, and you would find on the left side Flutter, and you can see how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Second question we have. Can we use multiple host names in IP type tracker?
Uh, I'm sorry, I did not understand the question. If if someone could have a better explanation of the question, because IP Tracker is my personal project, so multiple host names in a personal project, I'm not able to understand. So if someone could get it, this thing, that would be great. Yeah.
Okay. Next is how to implement backend after generating API.
Okay, so I think what he's trying to ask is कि, how can you integrate the payload that comes after you log in to your backend? So as I told you, the payload that you get is a JSON object that can be used in multiple ways. Either you can store it in a database, so you just have to make sure कि you have a post endpoint as a rest. I hope the person who's asking knows about making an API endpoint. So you have to make sure that you make a post endpoint and make sure that the data that comes from the payload goes through that particular API, and that gets stored on your database. I hope the question is
Yes, I hope it's clearly answered. And second is after successful login to make how to make a page load to a new one in React using server.
Okay, let me just read you the question again. After successful login, how to make the page load to a new one in React when using Savo? Oh, so please correct me if I'm wrong. So I am assuming that your question is how to redirect once you log in through the Savo. Once gets, is it authenticated or is it something else? So once we have a clarity on that, I can answer that question.
Yeah, next one is how to verify user data once I receive payload. Is there a facility to do the same from server
Yes,
and
yes.
React?
Yes. So we we have been getting being asked this feature a lot. So in like a week we are actually doing that. We would be giving the user or the B part of the company to actually a API endpoint where you can verify the user, that you get to make sure that the person who is authenticating is the same itself. Yeah.
Yeah, hope it's down
Yeah.
clear. Next is when I use the HTML SDK, how can I send the payload receipt in the front end to the backend after successful authentication?
Okay. So in HTML also, the way initialize the Savo SDK is using a script tag. So in that script tag, as simple as I mentioned earlier, you should have a post endpoint where you can put the data and you can just post it there. So yeah, there is a in the var config there is something called on success, and that gives a callback function. So in that callback function, you have to make sure that you put that particular endpoint, where you want to store the data, and you just pass the data and that goes to your database. Yes.
Yeah, that's all very good.
Okay.
And
And
thank you for today's
yeah,
session. Yeah. No, no,
it's
continue.
been my pleasure. So another thing is we have a wonderful community, that revolves around Savo. That we do not just talk about our product, but we talk about everything in the tech industry that is happening, and we have a dedicated channel for people who are facing troubles with integrating. So I would be personally there to assist you with whatever help you need. So once you go to asavolabs.com, you would see a particular link called community. Through to make sure that you go to the community, you join the Discord family. We are over 5,000 people in the Discord family now, so you won't be left alone for sure. So we have a lot of people to help you with whatever help you need. So make sure you join that community, ask questions, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Yes.
Yeah, today's session was really great. It was great having you with us. And the presentation was really great.
Okay, thank you so much, Isha, and I would like to thank Hack and NITR for giving me an actual opportunity to talk to young minds and give a presentation. So yes, make sure you make use of the 10,000 odd that we provide, and have a happy coding life. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really great. So thank you for joining in. Now next session we have at yeah next session we have at 4 p.m. It is by MLS TV events. Okay. Bye for now, Krishna.
Okay. It's bye bye. Take care.